P.B. Shelley, 1792 to 1822, was a famous English poet from the Romantic period. He is known for his beautiful and emotional poems about nature, freedom, and human rights. Some of his best known works are Ode to the West Wind and To the Skylark.
Shelley believed in fighting for justice and dreamed of a better world. Although he was not very popular when he was alive, today he is considered as one of the greatest poets in English literature.
Now we are going to discuss about the poem Ode to the West Wind. Ode to the West Wind is a beautiful poem written by P.B. Shelley. It is one of his most famous and powerful works, showcasing his connection with nature and his revolutionary spirit. The poem is addressed to the west wind, which is a force of nature, in which Shelley portrays it as a destroyer as well as a preserver.
O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from woods unseen presence the leaves shed, are driven like ghosts from an enchanted flame. Yellow and black and pale and hectic run, pestilence stricken multitudes, O thou, O chariots to their dark wintry bed. The winged seats where they lie cold and low, each like a corpse within its grave, until thine as the sister of the spring shall blow her clarion over the dreaming earth, and fill driving sweet buds like flock to feed in air, with living hues and odors plain and hill.
The poet describes the west wind as a powerful force of autumn that blows away the dead leaf like a ghost. It also carries seeds to the ground until the spring awakes them. So, the wind is both a destroyer of old leaves and a preserver of new life. The poet ends by asking the wind to listen to him.
Though on whose stream, with the steep sky's commotion, loose clouds like earth's decaying leaves are shed, shook from the tangled pores of heaven and ocean. Angels of rain and lightning, they are spread on the blue surface of thine arise surge, like the bright hair uplifted from the head of some fierce monad, even from the dim verge of the horizon to the zenith's height, the lags of the approaching storm, thou dirge of the dying year, to which this closing night will be the dome of a vast sepulchre, vaulted with all thy congregated might.
The wind moves high in the sky, shaking the storm clouds loose, like it did to the leaves. So the sky becomes a giant tomb for the dying year, and the storms like a funeral song. The poet again asks the wind to hear him. He is in awe due to the strength of the wind.
Though Wood did waken from his summer dreams, the blue Mediterranean, where he lay lulled by the coil of his crystalline streams, beside a pumice isle in Bysshe Bay, and so in sleep old palaces and towers, quivering within the waves' intenser day, all overgrown with azure moss and flowers, so sweet the sense faints picturing them, though for whose path the Atlantic level powers cleave themselves into charms, while far below the sea blooms and the oozy wood which wear the sapless foliage of the ocean know thy voice, and suddenly grow grey with fear, and tremble and despoil themselves. O hear.
Meaning of this stanza. The west wind warmed the Mediterranean Sea from its peaceful summer sleep. The sea dreams of sunken palaces and ruins, covered with beautiful blue moss and flowers. The wind stills even the deep oceans, where sea plants hear it and tremble in fear. Once more, the poet pleads, O ear, wanting the wind's attention.
If I were a dead leaf, thou mightest bear, if I were a swift cloud to fly with thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free than thou, O uncontrollable, if even I were as in my boyhood and could be the comrade of thy wanderings over heaven, as then when to outspit thy sky speed scarce seemed a vision I would never have striven. As thus with thee in prayer in my sore need, O lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. A heavy weight of hers as chained and bowed, one too like thee, timeless and swift and proud.
So we can move on to the meaning of this stanza. The poet wishes to become a leaf, a cloud, or a wave, so the wind can carry him. The poet remembers how he felt as a child, free and wild as the wind. But now the poet feels like he is worn down by life, hurt and powerless. The poet begs to the wind to lift him up, since he is in pain and struggle.
Make me thy lyre, even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own, the tumult of thy mighty harmonies? drive my dead thoughts over the universe like weathered leaves to quicken a new birth, and by the incantation of this verse, scatter as from an unextinguished earth ashes and sparks, my words among mankind, beat through my lips to an unawakened earth. The trumpet of a prophecy, O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind?
The poet asked the wind to use him like a musical instrument, just like it plays through the forest. Even though he is weak and broken like falling leaves, he wants the wind to bring out powerful emotions and beauty through him. He begs the wind to become a part of his soul and to spread the thoughts like fallen leaves across the world. Even if his ideas seem dead now, he hopes that they will inspire change and renewal, like sparks from a fading fire. The final lines ends with a hope. If winter or suffering is here now, then spring or new beginnings will come next. So now let's discuss about some main poetic devices used in this poem. First one is apostrophe. The poem is directly addressed to the west wind as if it was a person. For example,
O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being.
second one is personification. The wind, sea and sky are given human qualities.
For example, the Mediterranean is described as living asleep and leaves are ghost fleeing.
Next one is simile. The words like as and like are used throughout this poem. Metaphor. Indirect comparisons are made throughout this poem to deepen the meaning.
The wind is called a destroyer and a preserver, symbolizing both death and renewal.
Imagery. Vivid descriptions appealing to the senses such as sight, sound and touch. Alliteration. The repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of the words.
Example, wild west wind and summer streams.
The next one is symbolism. The west wind symbolizes power, change and inspiration. Winter and spring represents death and rebirth. In Ode to the West Wind, Shelley admires the powerful nature, especially the wild and uncomfortable west wind. He sees it as both a creator and destroyer. He sees the wind as a destroyer and a creator. He wishes he could be free and strong as the wind. Through this poem, he expresses his personal pain and desire for renewal, and also he hopes that his words will inspire change.
The poem ends with a hopeful note that after every winter, spring will come, symbolizing rebirth and new beginnings.
Hope you all read and enjoy.
Thank you.